Nick and I started so innocent, we would go out to work outings together and sit close by and talk. I started sitting in his lap, and we had some light touching, but nothing too severe. My husband, 39. Male knows about my 36 female 6-month-long affair but hasn't told me. What can I do? Okay, so maybe let's start out with a little background. My husband and I first met when I was right out of college in a new city. He swept me off my feet, and from the first date, it was magic. We married 3 years after that, and now we have an 8-year-old daughter. We both work pretty great jobs, and between caring for our daughter and work responsibility, we are both busy people. But he always made time for me and treated me like royalty, even when I didn't do the same. Around the beginning of 2019, I became familiar with one of my coworkers, Nick. He's about my age and has a wife and 3 kids of his own. Nick and I started so innocent, we would go out to work outings together and sit close by and talk. I started sitting in his lap, and we had some light touching, but nothing too severe. I guess he reminded me of when my husband and I were young. There was a passion in Nick's eyes that drew me close to him. Eventually, we started sleeping together. I knew during the whole time it was wrong, but I pushed through, never once thinking about the impact it could have on my husband. This morning started off as usual. My husband gets into the shower before me every day, and I snooze before I have to hop in too. He mentioned last night that he was going to stop by Costco on the way home from work today, so I grabbed my husband's phone so I could add to the shopping list a few things that I wanted. I know my husband's iPhone lock code, so I went into the Notes app to add what I wanted. And when I opened the app, it opened to a folder with dates listed on it. The dates started the first week of March and continued unabated until last week. I curiously opened one of the dates, and to my shock, it was a diary. I never knew my husband as the type of person to write out his thoughts and emotions. I read through the first couple of entries of his diary, and it broke my heart. The diary was all about my infidelity and how my husband was processing it. Looking at the dates that were listed, he discovered my affair about a month after it became physical. I quickly locked his phone and hid it. When he came out of the shower, I helped him look for the phone I hid. My husband has a work phone and a personal phone, so he was unfazed about not being able to find it. He was on a time crunch and left the house with only his work phone. I called off work and read each diary entry. I feel like I may vomit almost every entry. For the first 3 months, he discovered my affair was about how he planned on making her fall in love with me again. He had detailed in this diary the plans he had to make me forget about Nick. He talked about taking us on a week-long vacation so I couldn't see him, how he bought my favorite flowers and cooked my favorite dish, but I continued to see Nick. As time went on, and I continued to tell lies to my husband, he would write in the diary about how his resolve was beginning to waver, how he is becoming depressed and feels so lonely and unloved. After 3 months, the diary entries became wholly about his depression and how he cries every time he knows I am with Nick. He writes how every night before falling asleep, he has visuals of Nick's body on top of mine and how the visuals make him feel physically ill. He keeps writing in his diary how he doesn't want our daughter to grow up with divorced parents like he did. There is a diary entry from 1 month ago that stopped me in my tracks, though. In the entry, my husband talks about how one night when I was with Nick and he put our daughter to bed, he was crying to himself like usual, but the tears stopped flowing. He says that his body finally stopped producing tears for his failed marriage. He says this night was the night the Band-Aid fully came off. In this entry, he talks about how this 6-month-long process felt like a Band-Aid on his soul that was slowly being pulled off, and how now the Band-Aid was finally off, he felt a wave of relief, like he finally got over me. 2 weeks ago, he had another diary entry. In this one, he talks about how wants to arrange to meet an escort girl. He writes that he doesn't know how to start an affair, but having sex with someone other than his wife will be an interesting experience. My husband knows my cheating schedule. He has planned on meeting this escort sometime when I am with Nick. I don't know what to do at this point. I am at such a loss. I am so ashamed of myself. I kept telling myself that no one was getting hurt, that this affair would run its course, and that life would go back to normal. I never realized the pain and suffering that I put my husband through. I have cheated on him so many times, and he suffered through it. What can I do now? I am never going to cheat on my husband again, but it's probably too late to have this realization for me. Where do I go? What can I do? I know many of you will say some horrible things about me, and that's okay, but please help me save the marriage I ruined. Now let's read some of the comments left on the Reddit post. Comment number 1 by No Nonsense says, "You're a POS. Confess to your husband and let him divorce you. You're soulless." Comment number 2 by Hardline61 says, "I don't see how you can save your marriage. You've caused him so much pain and for so long that the only way for him to heal is without you. I don't think you deserve reconciliation at all. You didn't end it and only feel remorse after finding out he knows. I just hope you haven't broken him completely. If he is, you deserve whatever karma you've got coming, and then some." Comment number 3 by Potent Nuts says, "Not all heroes wear capes. What this man did to try and save his family is beyond hero shit. After he found out, he was probably the best husband he could be to try and win you back, and you didn't even notice. What you did to him is the worst. Knowing you were going to go get fucked by your boy toy time and time again, all while doing all the shit a great dad and husband do. The first thing you need to do is cut contact with your lover. Then you need to confess to your husband and ask him what he wants. And do it. You honestly don't deserve him." Be sure to like and subscribe, as it helps the channel to grow. Comment what you think about the situation below. Thanks for watching.